and we're about to launch into our Sunday night CTTB Dharma lecture, which is currently it's the 10 Transferences, the 10 Dedications chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. That's what we're about today. And if everybody is all set, let's see here. I've got my bell, and I can ring it 3 times after I put this screen up. And then Alan is going to request the Dharma. So let me ring the bell 3 times. Everybody is invited to join me in making half bows to the Buddha if you care to do so. Here we go. That's the first bow. Second bow. And a third bow. Alrighty. So, Alan, if you would like to request Dharma, please do so now.
恭请大德圣听，为此法会及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，殊证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi samyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye arahati samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. All right, Alan, thank you for the Dharma request. Welcome again, everyone. 大家欢迎。我们今天晚上继续研究大放广佛华严经十回向品。It's nice to be with all of you on a Sunday night. It's the peak of the summer. Today is the 15. Today is the full moon, and we have overcome some obstacles to get tonight's lecture. Let's see here. I'm going to stop that sharing. There we go. To get us to this lecture tonight, because a big tree branch fell from a valley oak very high, a big heavy tree branch, and it landed smack squarely on a little wooden shack that had all of the telephone and internet connections to City of 10,000 Buddhas. And I just witnessed some photos taken from that accident, and it will be a while. Essentially, our repair crew is going to have to start from scratch, rebuilding it, because it was destroyed. And it's just one of those things that happens. can't you can't blame it. Tree branches fall. This happened to land smack on top of our communication shed, and ouch. So we have taken this lecture offline. People at CTDB are unable to watch tonight, but appreciate all of you who've made your way to our lecture tonight, and we will continue our investigation of the 华严经。那个万福圣城，我们的有一个小木屋，里边有所有的电视，所有的这个网络这个线连都在一个小小的一个房间。刚好前天就无缘无故呢，一下一棵这个 oak 核桃树很高，有一个枝子哗啦啦掉下来了，刚好碰到那个木屋上，把我们所有的电话线还有所有的网路线什么的就弄得一塌糊涂。Oh my goodness， 这个可能很久才能一般就从头开始所以今天晚上我们有义工发心帮忙，从原地就连接我们的这个播放直播。万佛圣城的居士们呢，就在圣城里边，就没办法就是说收听。哎呀，可是你们呢不怕苦不怕难，也在这里听听，我们也很感激。All right, who knows what's the background behind me? Anybody know? Anybody recognize that? I'm sure some of you do. You must have been there before. I'll give you a clue. Our story later on, after the sutra, is of a monk who, the story of Master Shrinzhang, who was essentially born near Luoyang. And Luoyang is this location of the Longmen Shiku, the Dragon Gate stone caves, which you are looking at behind me. We had the opportunity to visit Luoyang and the Longmen caves on our last trip to China, and oh my goodness. In Australia, if you want to go somewhere that has kind of an institution that everybody accepts, yeah, normal, correct, Longmen Shiku, Longmen Grottos. If you want to go to like something that people celebrate just because it's Australia, you go to a wildlife park. And there you see the kangaroos and the wallabies and the tree kangaroos and the wombats and the koalas, right? It's just, people take it for granted. In China, oh, you have these incredible Buddhist sites that people also, it's always been there, so what's the big deal? We'll go someday. Like most people in San Francisco have not been to the Golden Gate Bridge. It's on your list. I'll get there someday. We cross it, but we don't go to look at it. So, excuse me one moment while I get some hot water from my throat. 1 second here. 等一等，我去拿点开水。Okay. There we go. I'm back. Now, we need to continue our invocation. Let's do that. Get our invite the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas along. Excuse me. And I will invite the participation of a lovely American banjo made in Michigan by skillful hands. Namo 再后一次，南无大Now, the Da Shanman, the mountain gate at the city of 10,000 Buddhas, has been repaired, restored to its. Let's see. I need to let's tell that story after we put away our slideshow. Here we go. The Pomo people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respect to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说 There we go. Pomo 人在他们祖先的土地上修炼着他们与土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年。今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统监护人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权为总微博，各让的所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。More to come here. And I have a new bell for the bell song. Let's listen. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法让万亿国中，共训起法界和平，利益报他那后德。All right. Now, the story that I wanted to share was people are familiar with the Da Shanman, the what we call the mountain gate, Shifu's architectural creation that became the icon of City of 10,000 Buddhas and a thing of pride, I think, for lots of folks in the Ukiah Valley as well. Because it looks wonderful. It's unique and it's awesome all by itself. So on last Sunday, it was Master Hua's 28th sequential observance of his nirvana. And early in the morning from 6 o'clock, people lined up at the mountain gate and bowed, 3 steps, 1 bow, all the way to the Buddha Hall. And with every bow, what did they do? Namo Da Fang Guang Fo Huayan Jing Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pusa, without the banjo. They didn't take the banjo as they bowed, but we've innovated that since then, so maybe an improvement. But certainly the sincerity was just outstanding. There were maybe 200 people who, step by step, bowed along the road to the Buddha Hall on Master Hua's anniversary. So a friend who is actually on tonight's call sat in at the table where the monks were staying. He was paying a visit and looked out and said, "Oh my gosh, the mountain gate looks awesome from here." And we looked out the window, and it really did. It just looked, it filled our frame of view, and to see all the folks bowing and the the kind of the timeless quality of that gate. Here we are in central Mendocino County, and yet here's a gate that could have been the Dashanmen of a famous monastery in China in the Tang Dynasty, you know. So that was quite, I'll hold that image for a long time. 上个星期天就上人的28年的这个涅槃的纪念日子，在万佛城很多居士早来很早起身，就到了我们的那个大山门，万佛圣城的大山门，开始三步一拜，朝山，从山门拜到佛殿。他们一边走一边念我们方才念的这个南无大放光佛华严经，他们并没有拿 banjo， 没有关系了。他们诚心的华严海会佛菩萨在那儿拜。然后呢，有一位居士，其实他也在线，今天晚上，他就来拜访我们出家众，他坐在桌子上，然后转身看那个窗户外边，刚好我们住的地方就在那个山门的前边，他看了窗户，他说：“哇，你们看这个山门多么微妙！Look how amazing it looks," he said. 实在是这样子，这个山门呢，虽然是美国Mendocino 县万佛圣城的这种iconic image， 可是你一看了，好像没有时间，没有一个早晚，没有一个古一个今可以是唐朝中国的一个山门一样的，所以从我们窗户看到外边，这个山门真的是很微妙。Okay, all right, let me share my screen and let's get started. Here's today's text. Everybody ready? We have reached the end of our text for the sixth transference. And this is the 随顺兼顾一切善根回向. That's the Chinese name. The English name for it is the dedication that lives in accordance with and strengthens all of your good roots. Okay, so let's see how the Bodhisattva concludes before we begin the 重诵。我们都现在到了这个第6回向的长行的这个结束。每次到这个时候，菩萨就金刚幢菩萨就说出这个名字，这个回向第6个名字叫随顺兼顾一切善根回向，就把众生一切的善根令他们兼顾，然后菩萨随顺他们愿意做善，愿意回向就帮忙加倍OK， 好的 OK， 那我们就念到第1段来。好 ，Let's read the first paragraph. 佛子是为菩萨摩诃萨第6随顺兼顾一切善根回向。菩萨摩诃萨住次回向时，常为诸佛之所护念，坚固不退，入身法性，修一切智，随顺法意，随顺法性，随顺一切坚固善根，随顺一切圆满大愿，具足随顺坚固之法，一切金刚所不能坏，欲住法中而得自在。Disciples of the Buddha, this is the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's 6th dedication, the dedication that abides in accordance with and fortifies all good roots. When Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas abide in this dedication, they are always protected and cherished by the Buddhas. Resolute, irreversible, they deeply realize the nature of all phenomena as they cultivate omniscient wisdom. They accord the significance of all phenomena with the nature of phenomena in all steadfast good roots and with all the perfect great vows they have made. They make perfect their practice of accordance and strengthening. No vajra can harm them. They attain freedom in the midst of all phenomena. Okay, did you notice the word phenomena popping up a lot? This one right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, what is all phenomena? It's dharmas. Another way to say it is reality. So look at, why is that important? These bodhisattvas, as they transfer merit, are doing something, you could say, profoundly, if you say unreal, that's not accurate. It is real, but it's invisible. They're using their minds to give dharma. Dedicating merit has no mark or sign. You do it with your thoughts, but the results of that gift are profound. And the good roots that these bodhisattvas here are learning to accord with and fortify, this is the stuff of dedication. So here's the point. Buddha Dharma, I think one of the reasons that I like it and am always brought back to it is not abstract. Buddha Dharma is not theoretical. It's not only a story that you have to agree to like or dislike. You have to accept the story or you can't get anywhere in the faith. It's not that. Buddhists pay very close attention to the larger processes of nature, the seasons, the passing of the seasons, the 1st and 15th of each month, the elements of nature, according when things are out of balance. Buddhists go to the source and invite the dragons to accept offerings. They pay close attention to birth and to death. And Buddhists watch the rising and the falling of human consciousness dealing with reality. That's really where we work. How is that possibly just theory or abstract speculation about the way things might be? It's not. So to call Buddhism a philosophy, that's scholar's language, somebody who's never actually practiced the Dharma. So here is this bodhisattva who, these 6th transference bodhisattvas, who are protected and cherished by the Buddhas. They're on their way to being Buddhas themselves. They are promising students, and the Buddhas want to protect them. And they are cultivating towards wisdom, but they're not there yet. These bodhisattvas haven't reached the Buddha's level, but they are well on the way. They're more than halfway through their course of study. And they're involved in us. Bodhisattvas spend their time connecting with folks like us, dealing with the reality of our lives, and according with what we come up with, to bring us back from the branch tips to the root, which is the mind. 各位注意，这个在这短短的一段，就说一切法法性还有法义，还有法性，还有坚固之法，还有于诸法中，说了很多次，是不是？这个法是什么样的呢？这就是说，所谓实际性，这是你眼睛所看到的 reality， 耳朵所听到的声音，这个鼻子、舌头、身体碰到的这个外边的气候，自己做的椅子，那个是很软还是很硬的？这个温度呢，是不是冷还是热？那个你喝的那个水是不是甜的还是淡的？这就是 reality。菩萨就在这里用功，随顺我们众生所引起的种种的境界，我们的事情菩萨就用这个实在的清醒来度我们，教我们从那个末梢上回归到那个根本，就是自己的心。 这是他们的工作。所以有人批评佛教说：“哎呀，你看这个就是抽象的不得了，这种理论，这种哲理，你们就想着太就说缥缈无实啊，不对的，那个是错的一个感觉。佛教并不是一种理论，也不是什么故事，我们要同意那个故事我接受，所以呢，我可以当信徒了。不是这种的宗教。佛教呢，就说有一些道理，这些道理是就在天地之间，在我们人性里边都有这个，我们跟随这个道理，那我们的这个这一生啊，会随顺坚固一切善法，一切善根。我们违背那个道理，就逆流那就处处碰钉子不顺所以呢，菩萨说你们愿意有智慧啊，我们都随顺坚固这些回向，我来帮忙。你们愿意回向啊，我来支持我会把那个大的障碍弄小一点，那个小的障碍都会弄没有了。所以这就是在这里呢，我们要认识一切法是说我们每天日用伦常的情形，菩萨就会用抱歉，就会用那个来度我们。Okay, the Bodhisattva uses whatever we come up with in our daily lives to teach us. And our chapter that we just finished, the prose part, is story after story, situation after situation, where living beings like us just run amok. We get in trouble, and the Bodhisattva comes along and uses whatever we present, that reality of dharmas, to teach us, to get us to let go of our attachments and find the mind behind the externals. Okay? So, how does he do it? He accords with the significance of phenomena, the nature of phenomena, and with these good roots that are always true, kindness, compassion, joy, serenity, and all the perfect vows that they've made, they add fertilizer. They water those good roots and bring them to maturity. Now, I was wondering, why does it say Jingang So Bu Neng Huai? Look at that. Now, what is the Jingang here that it can't hurt? Is it like Jingang Li Shi? Is it like Vajra spirits can't hurt them? Possibly. That's one interpretation. So they're beyond the harm caused by any negative kind of spirit? Could that be it? Is that how you interpret this? Vajra spirits have the power of bodhisattvas without having the vows and the compassion of bodhisattvas. They are immensely powerful, and most of the time, as I understand it, they are on the side of the Dharma. They are the Buddha's Dharma protectors. And sometimes the Vajra spirits were elevated in Japan, and some very creative images were made. So if you go to Japanese temples, particularly Shingon, Zhenyan, Zong, you'll see these fierce, looking like martial artists, only terrifying. Those are Vajra spirits. And some of them made vows to protect the Buddha's Dharma assemblies and smash the heads of anyone who comes to cause trouble, to destroy it. So maybe that's what is being referred to here, Soyo Jingang. But in general, as I say, mostly these Jingang are wholesome and on the side of the Buddha. Maybe occasionally they run amok and oppose the Buddha, possibly. But at the sixth stage, the sixth dedication, these bodhisattvas can withstand and surpass any trouble created by Vajras. So when it says 这里就说金刚所不能坏，我就有疑问，哪一个金刚是说金刚力士吗？金刚力士是什么？你们各位有没有看到日本的佛教的道场，特别有这些大的这个吊的像，哇，那个好像护法怒目而视这样，那个都是金刚，是跟菩萨一样有法力，就是没有菩萨的愿。他们一半呢是属于佛的护法，他们的法的，他们就说谁来在佛的法会里边捣乱呢？我们来把他们的头打碎了，那个金刚宝杵多数是这样子，可能没有所有的，不是个个都会降服了，那么没有关系了。第六回向的菩萨已经他的力量已经超过这个金刚力士 ，maybe it's like that. And they attain freedom， 他们在所有的法里边都可以用它来度众生所以他们的善巧方面是不可思议。So they attain freedom in the midst of phenomena. These bodhisattvas are incredible how they can mold circumstances to teach us. Okay, moving on. 20金刚幢菩萨观察十方，观察众会，观察法界义，入于自具神身之意，修习无量广大之心，以大悲心普覆世间，常去来今，佛种信心，入于一切诸佛功德，成就诸佛自在利身，观诸众生心之所要，随其善根所可成熟，依法性神为现色身，成佛神力而说颂言。At that time, Vajrabhana Bodhisattva, having contemplated the 10 directions, the multitudes in the assembly, and the whole of the Dharma realm, merged with the profound meanings of words and phrases as he cultivated the infinitely vast mind. Universally, sheltering the world with his great compassion, he nurtured the seed nature of all Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Immersed in the Buddha's merit, he perfected the body of self-mastery of all Buddhas. Contemplating what delights living beings and according with what brings their good roots to maturity, he manifested physical bodies on the basis of his Dharma body. Then, aided by the Buddha's spiritual powers, he spoke in verse. Wow, the verbs in this passage are just remarkable. Look at, he contemplates the 10 directions. Our bodhisattva is about to sing. The verses are musical. They're not recited. They're chanted probably in Sanskrit or one of the Indian languages, and they have a melody. So he's getting ready, and before he puts them to the ears of the assembly, he looks around. Why does he look around? He wants to know who's here. What he's contemplating for is to find out who is here and what are they thinking and what can they learn. What is their potential? So then he tailors the things he says, particularly to the hearing of those of the audience. And I like this line, sheltering the world with his great compassion, he nurtures the seed nature of all Buddhas of the past, present, and future. So look at these verbs. He merges with meanings, cultivates the mind, shelters the world, nurtures the nature, immerses in merit, perfects the body, contemplates living beings, accord with their good roots, manifests spiritual bodies, and chants in verse. How about that? So this is, Vajrabhana is a preacher. That's his job here. He has been requested by the Buddha to share this amazing, amazing lore and teaching of transference. And so this is the 6th time he's been in this position. Kind of each chapter comes through like a verse of a song, and or the next step in the training. And so he's ready to turn the story into poetry. And this is one of the hallmarks of the Avatamsaka and probably most Buddha sutras. There is a prose section and a verse section. And the verse section, we should recognize what it is. It's not just nice words on the page. At this point, the speaker breaks into song or chant. And it's got a meter, dum, 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 dum. In this case, the verses are 7, they're not 5. 菩萨现身做国王，以是为重罪无当. Right? Like that. He sings them. So it's quite performance. There's a bit of performance in it. Like any preacher in any pulpit, in any church around the world, when the audience is there, when your flock has arrived, you want to keep their attention. You want to give them something that will inspire them, that will provoke them, that will please them, make them happy. You've already done a icebreaker so that they've relaxed, right? And that's the job of the preacher. So here he is. You can see how much work goes into Vajrayana before he restates transference number 6 in metered, probably rhymed verse. 金刚幢菩萨准备把以上所有的道理，他刚刚讲的道理长行又一次说，可是这次呢，他就不是像讲话一样的，这次是要唱的。他呢，多数像hip hop spoken word poetry，他都要说出有节拍，嘣的嘣吧嘣吧嘣，还有配韵折折平平平折这样子。他呢，你看他多事，他很忙，先要做什么？观察十方，看看听众呢，他们的机缘，他们能听到什么，他就准备讲什么。观察中会所有的人在哪里？观察法界，他们这些菩萨听到他的法之后，他们出去就回去各个世界，他们会做了多少善，这是他的问题。入于字句深深之意，他现在你看这句他就准备他要唱的这个诗还是词还是偈颂修习无量广大之心，因为他是一个传教士 preacher， he's a minister， 他一定要听众欢喜他所讲的，能接受他所讲的，就会记得他所讲的，而且呢，他们都会随顺依教奉行他所讲的道理，以大悲心普覆世间，多么好以慈悲为怀常去来今佛中信心，他的责任很重，他要续佛慧命不能随便。入于一切诸佛功德，成就诸佛自在利身。他改变了，他变自己了。关注众生心之所要，随其善根所成熟，依法性身，为现色身，成佛身力而说僧言。最重要就是佛加倍他，就说你可以我相信你，我也支持你，你接受我的神力你就以前说不出来的这个辩才，那现在就有本事了。好，你放心好，这样子都会。So notice, I want to add another point here. This line here, he merges with the profound meanings of words and phrases. In Chinese, it's merges with words, phrases, deep meaning. So, yes, he is preparing to, send it out there. He wants people to get it. And he's preparing. He's a good preacher. And the other thing to point out here is he physically changes. The body of self-mastery of the Buddhas means he's getting his energy together to sing this Dharma. He wants to know what people like so that he can match it, as he explains. He wants to bring their wholesome qualities forward. And he brings out different bodies to prepare for his teaching. And then that all-important moment, the Buddha's spiritual power comes forward to help him. Aided by the Buddha's spiritual powers, he chants in verse. And now it's, we need to get a melody. We're going to start this next week. But we already have this is the same number of syllables for our evening ceremony. So we have the model of da da dee dum dum dee da 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 dee dum da dee da dum da da dum. It's just an arpeggio. Da da dee da dee da da dee da 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 da. Very, very simple. And that might be good enough. It's not too long. It's not as long as the prose, but it can be kind of boring, honestly. It's a little bit repetitive. So we will maybe consider innovating a new melody, or we'll just stick with the old one. 我们到下个礼拜在那儿唱诵这个重诵，我们会用我们做晚课那个哒哒滴哒滴哒哒哒哒滴哒哒哒哒88佛大忏悔文里边那个也可以，不过那个就重复了，重复，有一点很快就觉得不想听。我们可能再创造一个新的一个调子，看音源，或者我们就照常那个原来的。Okay, so that's next week. 下个礼拜的事 we will pay attention to the teaching in verse. It's much harder to chant in English because the lines are of different length. In the Catholic liturgy of the monasteries, there's something called chant tones. And our Dharma buddy, Father Cyprian Concilio from New Camaldoli Benedictine Hermitage, is masterful as he puts the scriptures, particularly the Psalms, into musical forms. And he instructed me in the past on chant tones. And it's quite a production. But the thing about chant tones is you can fit different length lines into a musical phrase. The bodhisattvas appear as monarchs, peerless among all worldly stations. Their merit, virtue, and awe-inspiring brilliance surpasses all, bringing benefit to the multitude of beings. Like that. And da 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 dee dee da dee 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 da. You hold the line until the last word. Da 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 dee da dee da 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 dee da dee. Something like that. And it gives you, it engages another part of the mind. So that's the advantage of chant tones, is it kind of stimulates a different hemisphere of the brain as you're listening, which helps you with retention and comprehension. 那个对不起啊。我们天主教一位朋友，他 也是很会把那个圣经就用音乐来陪。他告诉我们如何用 chant tones。chant tones 的好处是说，英文那个句子的长短不同。你如果要陪一个调子，那很不容易，因为中文是1、2、3、4、5、6、7，1、2、3、4、5、6、7这样子容易。英文 The Bodhisattvas appear as monarchs, peerless among all worldly stations. Their merit, virtue, and awe-inspiring brilliance surpasses all. 不同，所以你要放一个调子是不容易的。那个 Father Cyprian 那个天主教的朋友，他也告诉我们也有办法用 chant tones， 你可以不同的长短就可以用。所以我们研究一下，我们研究。Okay. Now, what is next? What's next? You know what is coming next. Master Cheng Xuanzang story. We had a miracle. Let's see here. Save that. Put that away. We had a miracle last week. There we go. Right there. Where a great spirit came to Master Xuanzang as he was dying after 5 days of no water on the desert. A great spirit came to him in a dream and said, how can you lie there and not move forward? Get up, basically. And he did, and found water. So, saved his life. 下个礼拜大家记得玄奘大师呢就被救的有一个灵感。真的太奇妙。Okay, so here's where we left off. 人马俱苏兮，济慈应非就水草。故是菩萨慈悲为生，启智成神通，弃慈类也。既就草尺1日听息，后日成水，取草进发，更尽2日，方出流沙到一物矣。此等为难，百千不能备虚。Okay, so that's where we left off. Let's move down. Let's just do this one right here. 己至一物，此一事，之一事。似有汉僧3人，众有一老者，亦不及待。显祖出迎，报法师哭，哀号哽咽不能已矣。言其今日重见乡人，法师以对之，伤气。自外忽僧，忽往西来参谒，王请借所居，备陈供养。使高昌王，各位你们要注意那个名字哈，高昌王去文泰，诗人现在一屋，是日欲换，侍奉法师，跪告齐王。王问，即日发誓，斥夷吾王，遣法师来，因为他的势力大，那个夷吾王不能不听。仍见上马数十匹，遣贵臣驱驮士盾迎候。Okay. It's exciting. Here we are. Right here. He rested for 1 day at the pasture and the pond. After refilling the water bag, gathering some grass for the horse, of course, he continued his journey on the following day. His life had been saved. Traveling for 2 more days, he came out of the desert. He made it. He reached the country of Yiwu. The hardships he experienced were numerous and cannot be related in full detail. Now, that's not an exaggeration. He nearly died. All right? Upon his arrival in Yiwu, he stayed in a monastery in which lived 3 monks of Han descent. the senior one was so excited that he forgot to dress himself properly, and he came out barefooted to receive the master, whom he embraced while crying piteously without restraint. He said, I never expected to have a chance to see a fellow countryman again. The master also cried in sympathy for him. The monks and the king of the Hu tribe came to pay their respects, and the king invited him to his residence and entertained him with all kinds of offerings. Now, I want to stop here just a minute. Imagine if this were a television series. We were serializing in TV shows the life of Master Xuanzang. Can you imagine? He's comes out of the desert looking more dead than alive, and on his old skinny red horse, and he walks down a dusty street in this. See, nobody could go across the desert. Nobody did. You died. You couldn't get across. So nobody ever showed up in this little town, the country of Yiwu. So here was a Chinese Buddhist monastery with 3 monks who probably felt that their lives were essentially over, just that nothing was going to change till the end of days because they never saw anybody coming from the east, from China. You couldn't get across the desert. Here's this incredible monk who shows up walking down the dusty street asking, is there a Chinese monastery? I'd like to spend the night. Somebody points him to the monastery, and he goes in, knocks on the door, and here are these 3 Chinese monks. And one of them, this old guy, is so excited, he comes running out with his robe barely on and barefoot. He grabs Master Xuanzang and cries and says, I never thought I'd see another Chinese in my life. And Master Xuanzang cries as well. How incredible. So Yiwu is a small place, right? So the local king, who's a good guy, probably maybe not a Buddhist, he invites him as a guest from afar. The king doesn't know who he is, so he's doing his best. Okay, 各位看这个情形哈，玄奘大师啊，过了这个沙漠，这个漠河咽，本来不可能的事情，没有人从东方进来了，从东方，这太困难，所以呢，他就来了，从那个沙漠出来了，然后那个义乌国就，你说偏僻啊，这个是小的地方，没有来往的，所以呢，到了玄奘大师到了那个城市里边，可能很多尘土了，他就说这里有没有佛教道场？有，哪里？那边，他就过了，就进来了，问心礼佛。哦，3个出家人出来了，一个老的哭了，他这衣服还没有整理好了，鞋子根本没有穿，他就说我认为我以后就没有办法再见一个中国人，你就来了哦。那玄奘大师也哭了。如果这是电视的连续剧呢，多么好看啊！所以那边的国王啊，他也不一定信佛，他就欢迎，来，这样子，外国人。Okay, an envoy had been sent previously to Yiwu by someone named Chu Wentai, the king of Gaochang. Okay, pay attention to the king of Gaochang. There's a whole episode about him. On that day, he was supposed to go back. He came for some other purpose. And he had the chance to meet Master Xuanzang because this is big news. You got this monk from China showing up. On his return, the envoy happened to say, oh, you know what? There was a big kerfluffle at Yiwu because this monk from China, the king of Gaochang, sends an envoy to the king of Yiwu, who is far his junior, and says, send the monk. So the king of Yiwu was like, and at the same time, the king of Gaochang selects tens of horses, dozens of horses, and appointed a high-ranking minister with a herd of camels to set up rest houses along the way to receive Master Xuanzang. 10 days later, the distance between Yiwu and Gaochang, the envoy arrives and conveys the king's invitation with salutation and sincerity. No, 5 days back and then 5 days back. So it's 5 days travel. So that's the setup for the excitement here. Now, there's, I think we're only going to get that much tonight, but this next chapter has a lot to do. The scene at Gaochang is quite exciting. Why? Because this king is, if this were a TV show, you would recognize him right away. If you're the king of a small country, nobody tells you no. You never hear the word no. It is always, yes, your majesty. And so these kings are quick to anger, quick to violence, quick to excitement. And they're spoiled like nobody else, right? Their word is law. So he is about to welcome Master Xuanzang to his country, and there is a collision ahead. So I'll just give you that teaser, that warning about what's to happen. 各位要注意哈，如果这是连续剧，高昌的国王，他那么在就说天地之间唯我独尊，他是小国家的一个国王，没有人敢对他说不要，他那个字不入他的耳朵了，没有人对他说 no， 从来没有了，他为所欲为啊，他是这个天子在那个小国家，所以呢，他有这种的品性。然后呢，玄奘大师有他的愿力，等一等就会有冲突，很有意思，很有意思。这一次到了高昌，玄奘大师的这个 biography，就这个与会是非常重要。Okay, I'll tease you with it for now, and we're going to dedicate the merit. And just a moment, let me share my screen. You can practice dedication right now. 你也可以修炼这个回向的法门，来把这个功德，今天听华严经，听玄奘大师的故事，这个功德都可以回向。Ready? May every living be our minds as one and radiant with light. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, before we end, we're going to bow to the Buddhas. Thank you all for joining tonight. I really appreciate your taking the time to look into the sutra with me, and we'll be back next week. Here we go. First bow, second bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Very much appreciate the work of the volunteers who made this lecture possible tonight under trying circumstances. Amitofo. See you all next week. Amitofo, everybody. Bye-bye now.